You've been inside that home, spotless, not for guests, not after a deep clean, just always. And standing there, something shifted in you. Not envy, not admiration, something quieter. The recognition that the person living here had figured something out and you hadn't. So you told yourself what everyone tells themselves. They're more disciplined. They have more time. They actually enjoy cleaning. None of that is true. The person who cleans their home every single day isn't operating with more willpower than you. They're operating from a completely different mental framework. And once you see what it actually is, you can't unsee it. Because this isn't really about cleaning, it's about what your environment is doing to your brain right now without your permission, without your awareness every single hour you spend inside it. If you've ever walked through your own front door and felt heavier instead of lighter stay with me, you're about to find out exactly why. Here's the psychological foundation, and it's more uncomfortable than most people expect. Your brain does not cleanly separate your inner world from your outer one. The space you live in is sending signals to your nervous system continuously. Every surface, every pile, every object sitting somewhere it doesn't belong. Environmental psychology calls this cognitive load, the total mental effort your brain is running at any given moment. And here's what research has confirmed. Your environment isn't passive, it isn't neutral. It is either working for you or quietly working against you every hour you spend inside it. Nobody told you this. So you've been living inside a drain and wondering why you always feel tired. You sit down to relax, or to focus, or to finally think clearly about an important issue, but you can't. There's a friction you can't pinpoint, a pull you can't name. This pull has a source. A study conducted at Princeton University revealed that physical clutter directly impairs your brain's ability to focus. It overloads the visual cortex. It doesn't grab your attention with a loud noise, but constantly pulls at it below the threshold of awareness. Every unwashed dish, every pile of unread mail, every misplaced item. Your brain registers all of these as unfinished business. And unfinished business is mentally exhausting. It runs in the background, like an open tab, silently draining your battery until it's dead. Your attention isn't wandering because of a lack of discipline. Your attention is wandering because your environment is running a program you never loaded and it hasn't stopped since you walked in. Flip this around and a clean space doesn't just look different, it thinks differently, and so do you. Here's what nobody says out loud about people who clean every day. They don't love cleaning. Nobody wakes up genuinely excited to scrub a floor. Ask them, most will tell you they don't enjoy it either. They do it because their home is the one place in their life where they have complete control. Think about everything you cannot control: the economy, other people, what your boss says, what happens in traffic, the outcome of a decision you made 6 months ago. Most of life is unpredictable, and that unpredictability creates a background hum of anxiety that never fully goes away. But your kitchen counter that you can control, whether the sink is clear, whether the bed is made, whether the surfaces are wiped, every time you restore your environment to order, your nervous system receives a signal. I am in charge here, I can handle things, everything is okay. Psychology calls this internal locus of control. Research consistently shows that people who strengthen it experience less anxiety, greater resilience, and more sustained motivation. And one of the most reliable ways to reinforce it every single day is to take ownership of the space around you. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part that actually changes behavior. Not motivation, not discipline, identity. People who clean their home every day are not doing it through willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. You can burn through it, and you have. The experience of being strict with yourself in one area and completely falling apart in another because you used everything up, that's not failure. That's exactly how willpower works. What you're watching in someone with a consistently clean home isn't discipline, it's identity. Somewhere along the way, through repeated action, through small moments of follow-through, they internalized a belief. I am the kind of person who keeps a clean home. And once a behavior becomes part of what you believe yourself to be, it stops requiring effort. It becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth, as unremarkable as locking the door behind you. Behavioral psychology is unambiguous on this. We act in alignment with who we believe we are. So if you believe you are a messy person, you will leave things. You will tell yourself, that's just how I've always been. But here's what that belief gets wrong. Identity is not fixed. Identity is built through evidence, and the evidence comes from your actions. Every time you wipe down the counter after dinner, you give your brain a data point. Every time you make your bed, you are building the case inside your own mind that you are someone who follows through on small commitments to themselves. Do that enough times, and your brain has no choice but to update its picture of who you are. The goal isn't to force yourself to clean forever, it's to do it long enough that you stop forcing and start simply being. I want to stop here for a moment because I know some of you are thinking, I've tried this, I do it for a few days, and then it falls apart, and I end up feeling worse than before I began. I want to say something directly. Your clutter is not a character flaw. In many cases, it's a signal. Sometimes it's a symptom of something much heavier. When life feels out of control, the environment is often the first thing to reflect it. When someone is moving through depression, their space deteriorates before almost anything else. Research published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered had measurably higher cortisol levels, the stress hormone, throughout the entire day. Your space isn't just reflecting how you feel, it is actively producing how you feel. Every hour you spend inside it. So here's the question I want you to sit with honestly. Does your home restore you when you walk in, or does it quietly cost you something? Because the answer to that question tells you more about your baseline stress level than almost anything else in your life. Right after waking up, your brain is in a uniquely receptive state. Cortisol spikes naturally in the early morning, and this isn't a bad thing. It creates a window of heightened focus and neuroplasticity. Your brain is literally more capable of rewiring itself in those first hours than at any other point in the day. So what happens when the very first act of your day is to make your bed? Three things simultaneously. First, you use that neurological window to anchor a behavior before the noise of the day begins. Second, your brain receives a completion loop, a genuine small dopamine release, a made bed, a clean sink, visible, finished things. Your brain rewards finished things, and that reward is real. Third, you build momentum. Admiral McRaven said it in a commencement speech that reached millions. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed, because when you complete the first task of the day, the second becomes easier, and the third, and the fourth. One small act in the morning doesn't just start your day, it sets the neurological tone for all of it. Two things are happening when someone cleans every day, and most people only see one. The first, behavioral activation. Be honest for a moment. Have you ever felt anxious, overwhelmed, and found yourself reaching for a broom? That's not random. That's your nervous system finding one of the most effective emotional regulation tools available to it. When you're anxious and sitting still, the stress has nowhere to go. But when you get up and do something with a clear beginning, a middle, and a visible end, you give that nervous energy a channel. The dishes get done, the surface is clear, and something inside you settles. The external process mirrors and supports the internal one. The second, and this is the one most people have never consciously recognized, your home is a daily statement about what you believe you deserve. The standards you hold for your space are a direct reflection of the standards you hold for yourself. When you walk through your door at the end of a long day and the space greets you with order, you are receiving a message you sent yourself that morning. I live here. This is what I deserve. That message repeated daily reshapes your self-concept in ways that go far beyond a clean kitchen. People who maintain their homes have simply decided their environment matters, that it either supports them or slowly depletes them, and they chose to be supported. Here's what the world consistently gets wrong about people who clean every day. What it looks like: more disciplined, loves cleaning, obsessive, naturally tidy, has more time. What it actually is: operating from identity, not willpower. Using environment to regulate nervous system, strong internal locus of control, automated a behavior through repetition, catches messes small, never lets them grow. You were never a messy person. You were someone who hadn't yet built the system. And there's a profound difference between those two things. Three things, only three: shrink the start, never let it accumulate, wipe right after cooking, wash right after eating. When the mess never gets a chance to grow, maintenance requires almost nothing. You're not cleaning, you're maintaining. Stack it onto what already exists. You already make coffee, wipe the counter while it brews. You already brush your teeth, wipe the sink right after. You're not building from scratch, you're attaching. Make it a ritual, not a punishment. The music you love, a drink you enjoy. Because anything the brain experiences as punishment, it will find a way to avoid. Automation needs to feel like something you return to, not something you endure. A 2009 study in the European Journal of Social Psychology found it takes an average of 66 days for a behavior to become truly automatic. The goal isn't to force yourself to clean forever, it's to force yourself long enough that you stop. Choose one space, just one, the room where you spend the most time, or the one that bothers you most when you walk in, maintain it every day for the next 7 days, then tell me it hasn't changed something. Tell me it hasn't given you a little more clarity in the morning, a little more calm in the evening, a little more quiet confidence that you are someone who shows up for themselves, even in small things. Because that's what this is really about. Not a clean room, not a made bed, becoming the kind of person who takes care of their space and by extension takes care of themselves. Tell me honestly, do you find it easier to live in order or in chaos? And has clutter ever cost you more than just a messy room? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if someone came to mind while you were watching someone who comes home exhausted and can never quite figure out why send this to them, sometimes the answer is closer than anyone thinks. This channel exists to show you the psychology running beneath the surface of your everyday life. Subscribe, not for the algorithm, for the version of you that's ready to understand what's actually been running in the background. Your home doesn't just reflect who you are. Every hour you spend inside it, it's deciding who you're becoming. Choose your environment deliberately, it will return the favor.